Hi. You mowing the lawn for me, buddy?
Yo, what's up everyone? Adam with Antique Auto. Today I am working on the Pig. I wasn't going to do a video of this, but I kind of had to show you. So let me just do a quick walk around what I plan on doing today. As you can see, I've already kind of started to tinker with the carburetor swap. It had a Holley on there, and since it was an aftermarket carburetor, it didn't have the gas pedal start feature on it. So that was the big draw on me getting that put back together. But there's an interesting situation there. So other things on the list, I messed around with some fender door alignment, and basically I just beat the hell out of it. Made the door up a little bit better. Also, I've got fabric vinyl for the dash pad, at least the top of it. There's a rip in it right there. So I'm gonna try to tackle that today. Our rear windows don't work with any switches, and I've got re-chrome taillight bezels for it somewhere in here. So I'm just gonna get started and see how far I get. Okay, back to carburetor. I pulled the carburetor off, and it's got this adapter on it. You can see that it doesn't even come close to matching the old intake. Let's see if I can get this thing off. It looks like this is a spread bore to square bore adapter, which is completely wrong. And there's fuel all over the place. Okay. Yikes. Wow. What is going on? Yeah, I don't know if you can see this, but it was a spread bore adapter. Yeah, so this was sitting on this like that, and it was only matching about half of these holes, and I mean, I guess it covered the other side or the back, but man, I'm kind of surprised this thing actually run. They did block off the heat crossover on this, which is kind of nice. So I'll get this cleaned up and get that other carburetor put on. This is a supposedly rebuilt carburetor. I know I've run into problems with those in the recent past, but this came from a good source. So I'm hopeful that we aren't going to have a problem with it. One thing I am noticing already is that the fuel inlet barb is not there, so yeah, I'm going to have to find one. This thing had a manual choke hooked up on it on that carburetor, that Holley. Quality stuff. I've got a vacuum barb for it, so I don't need to worry about that. And the wires for the start switch are just kind of coiled up over there. All right, parts department, which is also my basement, came through with an extra carburetor. So I've got that, and I also have a vacuum fitting. I ended up buying one at Home Depot for it, but I'll take an original one. You're gonna hear people say not to use Teflon on the threads of fuel fittings. That's correct, because most people will overlap on the edge, and this Teflon will get into the fuel system and clog stuff up and block passages and whatnot. So you really just need to be careful to make sure that nothing goes on the ends of the threads, basically. But you should be fine if you stay away from that. I'm just gonna snug this up to where it feels nice and snug. I don't want to go too tight because I don't want to mess up the body of the carburetor. And this vacuum fitting doesn't have to be super tight, just snug it up real well. Even if it does leak vacuum a little bit, it's not going to be enough to make a huge difference. Okay. While I'm over here, I'll connect up the old choke tube. Come on. What is going on? Oh, jeez. It's got a bolt in it. Lord. Just gonna snug that up by hand. I see a lot of these that are stripped out on these carburetors, which ruins the choke housing. All right, so as far as linkage, I've got throttle linkage, and then I have a transmission kickdown linkage. I think at some point when they put that other carburetor on there, they hooked up both of them, but the transmission kickdown linkage only has so much throw to it, and when you go far enough, it broke the transmission linkage ball off. So I've got another one of these. I just have to find it. Well, I think I have everything hooked up. I've got both kickdown and throttle linkage hooked up. Choke is hooked up. Switches hooked up. Vacuum line, fuel line. So let's get that connected up real quick and see if I can get her to bark. Oh. Sitting on stuff. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna try to use the gas pedal start. That's a negative, Ghost Rider. Well, crap. Okay, I know they installed a momentary switch inside the car, and I thought that they used the existing wiring to do that, but they ran 2 new wires. So I'm gonna jump these 2 wires here and see if it works. Okay. I just need to figure out what the problem is with the switch. A little close up of the switch. 2 bolts that undo it. There's a ball inside there with a spring and a contact. So I'm going to pull that apart and see what it looks like. Hopefully we're not missing any parts. All right, I didn't find anything too crazy. I went ahead and just cleaned up the contact points in there. I'm gonna try to hit it one more time. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this top Bakelite piece is not doing the job. It's got a crack in it, and I've got an extra one, so I'm just gonna swap it out. I'm gonna swap the guts out too. I can't take that ball out of the bottom, but I can replace all this stuff here. And this stuff looks like a lot nicer and shinier and, oh crap, which one was it? It's this one, the dirty one. Dear Tay, please work. This is the biggest reason I wanted to put this carburetor on, was so I could use the pedal start. And I'm bound and determined to make it work. Okay, here goes nothing. I'm gonna be able to see what I'm doing here, so if I get fuel issues, I can stop. A little bit of fuel seepage right here. I'll fix that. Oh, I got fuel all over the place. I was afraid that was going to be a problem. Damn. I really don't want to beat on this thing. This isn't exactly a carburetor that's easy to come by. She's racing. Don't know why. Looks like I've still got massive fuel issues. Great. Gotta take the carb back off. All right, I'm counting on this thing still being in good shape internally. I just need to clean out the cobwebs. I'm sure it's sat for God knows how long. So let's get it apart. See what she looks like.
One more.
Always missing screws. And another one right here. It's loose though. Yeah. I'm thinking the floats are set just a touch too high, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue to blow this thing apart and just clean it up. Before I get too carried away with putting this carburetor back together, I want to show you exactly what I found with these floats. It's a real common mistake that a lot of people make. There's a spring right here that has to be on a certain side of the float. If it's on this side, then it wants to keep the float open. You got to make sure it is on the other side. Come on now. There we go. So the intent of the spring is to keep a positive force on the float to encourage it to close. So they were on the opposite side, causing the floats to kind of hang open no matter what we did. So we'll get this thing put back together the rest of the way and put it back on the car. Well, here we are again. Let's try again. Dripping on the back side, which is causing too much fuel. So when I open the choke, it gets more air. Idle goes up. I really don't want to pull this carburetor back off. Okay, third time's the charm, right? Got the carburetor off and choke adjusted. There's no more fuel dripping out of the secondaries, so that's a good thing. So it's still on high idle right now, so I'm going to go ahead and let it warm up for a few minutes and then do some adjustments on the idle. Houston, we have a very large problem. Well, it doesn't look like transmission fluid, but it is. And it's coming from right where the inspection cover is. Oh, boy. That's not what I wanted to see. I guess I'll pull the cover and see if there's anything obvious. I'm just going to go ahead and top off transmission fluid and drive it for a couple miles to see if something kind of seals itself back up. Sometimes these Dynaflows have a tendency to leak when they sit for a while, so I want to try that. Even though the fluid's not red like it should be, I'm just going to ignore that and hope for the best.
than the massive transmission fluid leak, this car is running like a dream. There's no rattles, there's no weird noises. Well, the kickdown works, that's nice. Never worked with that old carburetor. In pretty good shape so far. I'm gonna go ahead and run it down the road for another mile or two, and then we'll come back and reassess that leak, and I may just park it.
Well, we still have a substantial transmission leak, so I think I'm gonna call it quits for that. I'm gonna go ahead and rip out the old manual choke control and the push button start wiring and all that stuff. But other than that, we're just gonna kind of let this ride for a while and see what happens. So that is gonna do it for me. Be sure to like and subscribe and tell all your neighbors, friends, and families, etc. I'll see you next time.